Honestly, this is Bob's world and we're all just living in it. Hey gang, and welcome to another Animal Crossing video. I'm Crossing Channel, and villages are one of the most important parts of the Animal Crossing experience. Honestly, before the major 2.0 update, villagers had a lot of issues in Animal Crossing New Horizons, but they've improved so much since then, and there's been a ton of different updates and new features for villagers that you should know about. So in this video, I'll be going over exactly that and checking out 8 of these new villager features and updates in Animal Crossing New Horizons. We'll be hanging out with our favorite characters like Bob and seeing exactly what has changed. Quickly before we do, I just want to mention that I'm streaming Animal Crossing New Horizons every week on Twitch. You can check out the link in the description. It's twitch.tv/crossingchannel, and I hope to see you there. So first of all, one of the most major and impactful updates for villagers since 2.0 is that villagers have received hundreds of new lines of dialogue in the game. This is included in the main part of the game and also Happy in Paradise as well. There's absolutely so many different new things that your villagers can see, and I'm sure that if you've been playing the game since the very start, you've noticed a lot of these new things. This means that villagers have much more personality than they ever did before, and you won't be running into the same lines over and over again like you might have done before 2.0. Now, of course, with dialogue, there's always limitations, so yes, you are going to see the same dialogue repeated. This will happen in practically any video game you can find, but there's no denying that villagers' dialogue has been improved drastically since the latest major update. I'd really love to know what some of the really funny and interesting new dialogue you guys have seen from your villagers. I've just been chatting with all of them, and I especially love all the different things they can say in Happy in Paradise, which relates to the building they're in or the circumstances that they're currently in. It's really interesting to me, and it just gives the game so much more personality, which is something that I think a lot of us have wanted since the very start, and I'm happy that it is finally here now in Animal Crossing New Horizons. Here's a really neat one that I did mention in a previous video, but I thought it'd definitely be worth mentioning here in a villager updates. It's that if you invite a villager to the roost using their amiibo card who previously lived on your island, they will actually remember you and you'll get some special dialogue from them. This is just a really cool detail and feature that I like a lot. It did previously feel like a lot of villagers who left your island would never be seen again, and they would kind of just completely forget you existed. So I'm really happy that this kind of gives some continuity for the game. In Animal Crossing New Leaf, you'd have villagers of course visiting the main street who previously lived on your island, which was really nice. So this is kind of a neat little alternative. It would be cool if you could see older villagers maybe appear in your shops and such, but that isn't something that they decided to do, sadly. Still, I'll take this. I think it's really nice that the villagers do remember you, so if you have their amiibo, definitely drop them an invite. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised by some of the interactions that you can have with them. Villagers can sometimes approach you and decide to invite you to their home, and when you take a trip over, you can potentially get a copy of the song which is playing in their house from them. This is a nice way of getting more KK Slider songs without having to listen to a ton of different concerts or trading with other players, and it's definitely nice to get a really neat reward from your villagers that is actually quite relevant to them. Not only this, but it seems like sometimes you can even get their photo when you're paying them a visit as well, which is really cool. Of course, you'd need to have enough friendship for this to actually happen. It'd have to be pretty high, but the possibility is definitely there, and I've seen some people discussing what items they've gotten from their villagers when they've visited their houses. I personally don't have my villagers asking to visit very often. They always come around to my house, but they never want me to visit their house. I don't know what's up with that. It just seems like it's one of the more difficult interactions to get, but then again, I've seen other people get it really easily, so maybe I'm just super unlucky. So, talking of villager visits, when a villager decides to visit your house, they will actually give you your sister fruit. So for example, mine happens to be the orange, so when a villager decides to visit me, they'll actually give me a nice orange. This is a neat way to get more fruit in the game. Maybe if you're earlier on in the game, this could be a good way to get fruit that you don't have. I often do get a lot of comments from newer players who don't have all of the fruit, who maybe can't trade online and such, so this could definitely be really useful for you if you need to get more fruit. It is a fairly simple reward, and I'm sure to most of us one orange or something like that wouldn't be that interesting, but considering many people are at different stages in the game, this definitely could be really handy to them. Talking of gifts, in Happy Home Paradise, once you've done a home for a villager, you can talk to them on the beach and they'll potentially give you something. They can give you a wallpaper, flooring, or a rug, it seems like. I got a rug here from Octavian, which is an item that I don't believe I actually had before, so it was really neat to get a little present from him as a little thanks for decorating his house. Of course, you do get the pokey for designing their houses, which is great because you can buy so many items with it, but to get a nice little reward from them as well, just as a personal kind of thank you, is something that I like a lot. There are so many different presents you can get from villagers in Happy Home Paradise that I'm sure you already know about, like the recipe which you can get from the chef, and then of course also the sapling which you can get from the school, but this one's really neat and something that I haven't seen too many people talk about, so definitely chat with those villagers. You never know what items they might decide to give you as a way of thanking you for your hard work on their house. This one is really fun, and I have mentioned it before, but I just could not leave it out of this video, especially talking about villager house visits. If a villager decides to visit your house and you have cockroaches, they will decide to leave immediately. And this even applies to lazy villagers who are often talking about their love for bugs. Now, lazy villagers won't have such a negative reaction like other villagers will. They won't completely freak out, but they will still leave right away. So make sure your house is free of cockroaches if you do want villagers to come, or they just won't stay. Maybe if you don't want them there though, this could actually be a really interesting way of repelling them. So you know what, maybe give those cockroaches a chance. It could help you from those unwanted villager visits when we're trying to decorate our houses and they just decide to come over uninvited. This one is a bit more of a broad update, but it's definitely worth mentioning. There are a ton of new interactions in Happy Home Paradise, and if you think you've seen them all, you probably haven't. There are so many different interactions. We can of course talk about the main ones, like you can see the villagers doing on the beach, where they can now for the very first time sit in the ocean and wear swimsuits and such. They can kick up sand and do different types of workouts that you can't see on your main island, but they also interact with many different items that you can put down as well. There are so many unique interactions that were introduced that you can only see in Happy Home Paradise, so if you do have the DLC, you should definitely watch out to see how villagers interact with their environments, because it is much more advanced than on your own island. This is definitely a bit of a shame in my opinion, and I wish it did carry over to our main islands as well, but I guess they wanted to keep it separate and give Happy Home Paradise something extra special for people to enjoy. If you've been using the first-person camera mode a lot like I have, then you may have noticed that you can get special interactions with your villagers through this mode. You can actually surprise them with the camera, which is a really cute detail, and of course you can zoom in on them super close. Now this mode does feel a little bit strange to me. It almost feels like you're paparazzi or something and you're kind of spying on your villagers, but aside from that, it's nice to see the world from this perspective. It does feel really strange for Animal Crossing New Horizons, but it's something that I like a lot. But what villager updates and changes have you noticed recently in Animal Crossing New Horizons, and are you happy with how villagers have improved as of late? Definitely leave your thoughts down in the comments section below. If you made it to the end of the video, be sure to comment Bob's Gang down below so I know you did. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, and if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and turn on channel notifications for more Animal Crossing videos. I want to give a big thanks to these channel members for their continued support of me and what I do here on this channel. If you want to become a channel member, click the join button down below the video or the link in the description to learn more. You can get a whole bunch of cool perks like exclusive emojis, a badge by your name, access to our members only Discord and our members only podcast too.